And hello, this is Mr. Callen here to help you with a lesson for Monday, April 18th. Apologies for not being here. One of my children are sick, just got sick actually today. So I feel bad. I want to be there with you guys, but I got to put family first. I'll be back with you hopefully on Tuesday. On to the lesson, and you may skip the math review, mental math, I should say, skip 1, 2, 3. Go on to lessons 4, go on to problems 4 through 8 and the challenge, and come on back when you are ready to check your answers. Press pause, come on back when you're ready. All right, folks, here we go. There is at least one, if not more, mistakes on this page. So go ahead and pause, check your answers. If you'd like to, you may discuss this with your classmates or your guest teacher if he or she is comfortable doing so. Otherwise, I will be happy to help you with it when we come back. Pause, check your answers, and move on when you're ready. All right. I'm not sure if your guest teacher is going to be comfortable doing rocket math for you. You're welcome to ask her or him. Otherwise, we'll carry on with that on Tuesday. Meanwhile, on to the next lesson, which is not actually in the textbook. I guess I could point that out here because we don't have it in our textbook, interestingly enough. Multi-step computation. Goal for today: solving multi-step problems involving multi-step computation. Now listen, you have all the prerequisite skills. You have converted things like gallons to ounces. You have solved percent problems, whether you know a total and want the part or you know the part and want the total. You have done multi-step computation with rational numbers. You know your order of operations. So we're going to crank it up a notch for 8th grade, and here we go. Assignment hopefully is passed out to you. This should look familiar, but I wanted to change it up. It was actually given to us a long while back on our iLearn practice. So I changed up just one little part of it. We're going to go through this now. It looks very similar to your homework problem number 1. It is not your homework problem number 1. So take a look at how the problems are similar. Take a look at how they're different, and let's go. Total of 500 students. I'm going to underline that word total, grades 1 through 5. 17% of that total number are in first grade. So let's talk about that first. Anytime I hear 17%, I know any percent is per 100. Now in this case, we know the total, but we do not know the part, in this case, the first graders. Remember, it's always part versus whole or total. Meanwhile, it's also percent versus 100. These are relationships. That's why we write them in ratios. Now, if you'd like, you may use your cross products here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right back and I'm going to say, well, wait a second. 100 goes into 500 quite nicely. In fact, 100 times 5 is 500. So let's be fair to the numerator. And in this case, once we multiply 17 times 5, or 5 times 17, that's going to be 85 first graders. So that's the first thing we found out, 85. All right, onward to the next part of the problem. 19% of the total number of students are in 4th grade. There we go again, 19%. You can pause, move ahead of me if you want. I'm going to use X for 4th grade since I've already used F. Come on back if you want to. 100 times 5 again, 19 times 5. So the number of 4th graders is equal to 5 sets of 19, or 19 sets of 5, which I do believe is going to be 95 students. So now we know the number of 4th graders. Onward we go. Third grade students is 9 less than 4. Well, hot diggity. If we know the 4th grade, we're going to subtract 9 from that. And so now we know the number of 3rd grade students. That's not bad at all. All right. Now this one gets interesting. You'll notice I even changed this from the iLearn practice. The number of 2nd graders is 18 more than the number of 5th grade students. But wait a second. What is that number of 5th grade students? We don't know. Let's call that y. What we do know is the number of 2nd graders is 18 more than that. Now, 18 more, what do we start with? We start with the number of 5th graders, and then we add 18 more. But still, Mr. Cowan, what the heck does that mean? Well, let's find out. See, what we know right now is 85 students are in 1st grade, y plus 18 students are in 2nd, 86 in 3rd, 95 in 4th, and y in 5th. And if we were to add up all these students, it would equal a total of, you guessed it, 500. Now at this point, some of you are saying, this is a multi-step equation. We know how to do this. Let's go ahead and combine some like terms. So I'm seeing 2y's. Now I'm going to have to add 85, 18, 86, and 95. Now, folks, you may use a calculator on this. Ms. Morris and I were looking through the iLearn standards, and we realized that technically we believe on the iLearn test you'll be able to use a calculator. Now, you don't need to. Let me be very clear about that. So if I go to my handy-dandy calculator, I'm not going to put that onto the screen right now, and I add up all these students, that's a 95 at the end. Sorry if that's a little messy. 284. Whoa, hello. Which seems like a reasonable answer. 88 and 80 is 240, and this is going to be a little more than that. And now our goal, let's find out what y is. So let's go ahead and subtract 284 from both sides, leaving us with 2y's equaling 16 would get us up to 300, and another 200 would get us up to 500. But we don't want to know what 2y's are equal to. We want to know what a single y is equal to. So let's divide both sides by 2. And in this case, y is equal to 108. Let's remember, what does that mean? That means the number of 5th grade students, y, is 108. And if we added 18 students on top of that, that would mean 126. Now, just a reminder, if we were to simply add up all these digits, let me go ahead and beef this up a little bit. 85, 126, 86, 95, 108. If we add those up, it should equal a total. Oh, hello. Let's go back to that screen. Should equal a total of 500. So again, I'm not going to put my calculator on the screen for you. Maybe I will at some point. And of course, you're using your Desmos calculator, which you're going to get. I added these up, and it checks out to 500 students. Now, if you wish, you may pause the video, go back, rewind it, watch it again, or you may go on. I'm going to ask that you know numbers 1 and number 2. Come back to 3 in just a second, okay? So do numbers 1, number 2, and come on back when you're ready. All right, so answer to number 1 is as follows: 42, 56, 76, 60, and 66. Yes, there are some curveballs thrown in. Different numbers, surely. A different total number of students, yes. But you should be able to look at similarities, differences in my problem. And meanwhile, number 2, $45 more. Now, pause if you want. Go back, see if you have any mistakes, if you can fix them. And then come back for number 3. This is all I'm going to do with you folks for this today. I'm going to change up number 3 slightly as well. So instead of 6 gallons, we're going to do 8 gallons. Instead of this percent, we're going to do 42%. You might want to pause the video, read through this problem, and come on back when you are ready. All right, so what do we know here? We know we need 8 gallons. We know how many ounces are in a gallon, and since the juice is sold in ounces, let's find that out. So 8 gallons each, 8 gallons total, 128 fluid ounces per gallon. So what are we going to do to find out ounces? We're going to multiply these. And I might as well go ahead and see if I can It's going to be too much of a pain to go back and forth with the calculator, folks. So you can have your Desmos calculator out. Meanwhile, what I got here is 8 times 128, 1,024 ounces. And I'm going to write that ounces right there so I know what I'm doing. So step number 1, find the number of ounces. Step number 2. Oh, well, let's pause for a second. I hope you've read it. But the question is, how much does the apple juice cost if we're talking about 6 gallons of this? All right. Now, why do we find ounces? Because we got taken care of this part. We know how many ounces are in 8 gallons. But we also know that only 42.5% of that total juice is apple juice. So let's find out, okay, we did percents before, 42.5% of the 1,024, that is the total number of ounces, X here. And now I don't know exactly what number will go into this, so let's go ahead into our cross product, shall we? So 100 times X is going to be equivalent to 42.5 times 1,024. Takes us a little back to 7th grade. 42.5 times 1,024 is 43,520. Again, as you look through this problem, look at how your problem on your homework is similar, how it's different. I'm going to now divide by 100 so we actually solve for what X is. Divide this by 100. No need for a calculator here. Whenever you multiply or divide by a power of 10, it moves the decimal place. In this case, dividing by 10 to the second power, or 100, moves it 2 to the left. 435.2 ounces of apple juice. So, step number 2, how much is apple? Step number 3, why are we doing this? Because we want to know how many bottles we're going to buy. Apple juice comes in 32-ounce bottles. So if I take 435 2/10 ounces and I divide it into 32-ounce containers, I'm going to get, why do I have a bad feeling about this? 435 2/10 divided by 32. This is interesting, folks. I need 13 6 containers, bottles. Now I ask myself, is the store going to let me buy a part of a bottle? And the answer is no. So, should I round it down to 13 or up to 14? Well, 13 is not going to give me enough apple juice. I'm going to need 14 bottles. All right. And we wrap up with, let's find the cost. If each of these bottles costs, I'm going to cross off what's on your paper, $1.13. My 14 bottles times $1.13 each $15.82. So let's go back through the problem here. First part, how many total ounces do we need? 1,024. Now, why do we need to find that? Because of that 1,024, only 42.5, almost half of the juice needs to be apple juice. So it turns out that we need 435 2/10 ounces of apple juice. Now, all those ounces we can split up into 32-ounce containers. And since you can't buy part of a container, we would need 14 bottles to make sure we have enough. Last but not least, each of those 14 is $1.13 each, coming up with a total of $15.82. Ladies and gents, that's what I got for you today. I would invite you to continue on with number 3 if you want. Press pause, come back to number 3, and I'll give you the answer in a moment. All right, so to number 3 should be $11.45. Now I want you to carry on with the remainder, number 4, 5, 6, and 7. Unless I'm wrong, one of these problems seems considerably easier than the other 3. I'm not saying easy, but considerably easier. You can tell me if I am wrong, and they're all just as difficult. All right, folks, that's all I have for you. When you're finished, get on to Khan Academy 909088, or I might put some extra problems on IXL as well. That's what I got, folks. Take your time, do well, and let's grow.